Hello everyone and welcome to another Pixel Maven project tutorial. If you're new here, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button while we're getting started here, so that way you get notified of all of my new projects. I'm doing new and fun stuff every week and I would love for you to join me. So today I am working with a new cut file from scrapbook.com. This is called Color Me Happy. And it is a set of files that have this rainbow pattern in it and the sentiment, Color Me Happy, in all sorts of different ways, designed for scrapbooks, for card making, for travel journals, and all sorts of other different projects, anything that you can come up with really. And I decided to take that big rainbow and do something fun and different with it in the Silhouette Studio Designer software. So I'm going to show you how I took care of that, and then we're going to go ahead and create this card. Okay, so I have my Silhouette Studio Designer Edition pulled up and I have my files pulled up here. So I'm going to go into the cards section and this is the one that I want to use. So this is going to be this exact rainbow here. So I'm just going to click and drag this SVG right into my Silhouette program. And now that I have it in here, let me grab it and bring it into the screen. Okay, so I've got this in here and I want to make a whole bunch of different multiples and I want to make sure that they fit on that like 6x6 square that I had set up. So I'm going to do a few different things with my page setup here. So I'm doing the 12x12 inch cutting mat, but the size of my media, I want to make it 6x6. And this is going to help me to know exactly where everything goes. So you see how it kind of magnified everything. Let me just back out so you can see the whole page. So here's your 12x12 sheet and it's just highlighted out a 6x6 square for me, which is perfect. So now I've got my 6x6 working area and then I've got my rainbow here. The first thing I'm going to do is ungroup everything because I want to get rid of this rectangle that's around it. So I'm going to go to Release Compound Path, and that gives me individuals of everything. And I just want to get rid of this rectangle here. So I highlight it and just delete it. And then I'm going to grab everything again, and I'm going to make a compound path. So that way it's one piece again. All right, and then I can make it smaller. And if I make this, I'm going to click this little lock here so everything stays in proportion. I'm just going to make it 2.5, so 2.5 inches, and that should be good. So now that I have this guy, I want to put him all over the place, but instead of copy paste, copy paste, copy paste, I'm going to use a feature. If I go over into Object and Replicate, I'm going to rotate 5 copies and see how it just rotated all of these for me. So they're random. And now I can go ahead and place them on my 6x6 however I want to make them fit. And then I can rotate them around and do whatever it is that I would think looks good. And if I don't think that one is rotated quite right, I can go ahead and grab this green handle and rotate it a little bit, and that'll get it into a different position. See, I can flip them all the way around this way and kind of get these two to mirror into each other. And then I need a couple more, so I'm just going to Control C and Control V to copy and paste, and then move my handle again, and then Control V again to paste another one in place. So I could go like so. And then I think I need probably one more to roll up down here. Move this guy like so. And then bring him like this. And there. So now I have completely randomized my rainbows and I can go ahead and cut that out. So I would just go over to Send and see it's just going to cut out this 6x6 area, which is perfect. So I can go ahead and cut this out and weed it and it will be ready to use as a stencil. All right, so now that you've seen how I put together that cut file and I have everything cut out and weeded, this is what it looks like. And I've used this one already. I used this one on the sample. And now that the deco foil adhesive has dried on this, I can go ahead and use it probably a second time. I don't know that I'll get a third out of it, but it will work great for a stencil. So I'm going to set this aside and we'll go ahead and do the blended background first. And I love this technique because it only requires you to have 3 distress oxides in your kit. So this is really great if you're getting started with blending. You just need to get these 3. You need to get mustard seed, salty ocean, and candied apple. And if you have these 3, you can get a perfect rainbow all the way through. So get these and get yourself some of these domed scrapbook.com blenders because these will make your blending work so well. So we're going to start with the mustard seed as my blender rolls away. All right, so we're going to start with the mustard seed. And this goes right smack dab in the middle. And I'm going to load this up because I'm doing like a full color blend here. And I'm going to start and go do a huge section in the center of this piece of cardstock. Now this cardstock is 5.5 by 8.5. And the reason I did that is to make sure that I have plenty of space to blend. And then I can go ahead and cut out what I want when I'm done with it. So you can see I have this huge section of yellow going on, and that's because I'm going to be blending everything else into it, and I don't want to lose the yellow. I want to have a segment of yellow in the center, so that way I can have a beautiful rainbow. So I'm taking up almost a complete third of that. So I'm going to leave this out, and I'm going to start blending on the top with some salty ocean. And again, I'm going to load this guy up, and I'm going to start up here where I want it to be blue and then bring it down into the yellow. So a nice little row of blue, and now I'll start bringing it down. And you can see how those two are blending together, and I'm starting to get a fantastic shade of green. And I can pull it in to try and get about, like 1.5 inches. And that's kind of how all these stripes will end up working. So that's pretty good. Now I can come back with the yellow and just blend out that line. Isn't that gorgeous? These domed blenders will make all the world of difference when you're going ahead and doing all this fun blending. Okay, so we're done with, actually we're done with the blue at the moment. The yellow we might still need, and we'll go into the candied apple. So this one, it's the same thing. We're just working from the bottom and going up into the yellow, and that's going to give us the red into orange. So I'll go ahead and do another stripe. All right, so I've got that in, and now I can start pushing up into the yellow. And you can see that I'm getting an orange color now. And it's working into the yellow. See, a beautiful blend. Now I can take this yellow again, and if I feel like this is dirty, I can clean it off just on a wet towel. But this is good enough just to blend out that line again. And if I feel like I'm not getting a complete blend, I can keep trying to go over it, or I can just add a little bit of yellow to go on top of that. But this is actually blending out quite nicely. So look at this, I have a gorgeous rainbow. Now if I wanted to go into purple on the top here, I just need to take this red and do the same thing I did on the bottom, just do it on the top and pull it down into the blue. And since I've kind of run out of space here, what I'm going to do now is just take the salty ocean and just go right over the top of this. Blend those two together and end up with a purple shade. All right, then just blend it out. And poof, we have a rainbow in no time. Of course, I could do the purple on the bottom too, but there's really no need to, as we're going to be moving into the rainbow piece. And this is a 6x6, so I'm already into the space that I need. Okay, so I can move all of these guys out of the way. And this is the super fun part. So now I'm going to go ahead and work on the foiling part. And if you've never worked with the ThermoWeb foil, they come in all sorts of different styles. So you can get them in the sheets like this, the 6x12, or you can get them in rolls, all sorts of different ways that you can get these, and all sorts of ways that they adhere to cards. So today I'm going to be using this Deco Foil liquid adhesive, and I got a really cool texture on this because I used a sponge to just sponge it on over the stencil that we made. So all I have to do is get this stencil taped down where I would like it to go. So like so. And I am going to kind of tape up in the corners so that it doesn't pop up. And I think this is the last time I'll be using this stencil, so I'm not really worried about going crazy with the tape. I just want to make sure that it is down well enough that it's not going to get all muddy. Okay, so and you can see like some of these little pieces of this of the rainbow are starting to peel off. So 2, I think if you're going to use cardstock, 2 is probably the most you could hope to get out of that. Okay, so now I have this whole thing taped down, and I can start using my sponge. So I'm just going to take this liquid adhesive. If you have a new bottle, there's a little piece of foam on the top that you need to peel off and get rid of. So I'm just going to make a huge pile of it here. And I'm going to use my other foam blender. These are the flat disc ones. I'm trying to get rid of them, and this is a perfect way to do so. And I'm just going to pounce it on here just like you would if you were doing any kind of regular stenciling. And so this is just applying the foil adhesive exactly where I want it for the rainbows. And I'm being pretty generous with the adhesive, because I want to make sure that the foil sticks really well to it. All right, so I think I just need to grab these last 2 here. See, I have like adhesive like gooping out of this completely. I have a lot of adhesive in here. All right, so now I have all of these guys covered. And I can go ahead and remove the stencil. Okay. So the cool thing about this is you will be able to see exactly where the stencil and the adhesive is. All right. So yeah, see, this is my second time with this one. I maybe could get a third time, but I think this is trash. And that's okay. That's why I saved my creation in my Silhouette Studio after I was done, so that way I can use it again sometime. Okay, so right now I need to allow this to dry. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and I'll be back when it's dry to show you how to add the foil. Okay, so you might think that a couple of hours have passed. Well, this Deco Foil liquid adhesive says right on it, let dry approximately 1 to 2 hours. Now listen, I am not going to wait 1 to 2 hours, especially because I used my sponge to pounce it on here. It dries very quickly that way, so I used my heat tool to help set it, and now it is dry enough for me to go ahead and use the foil on it. So what they're normally expecting you to do with this kind of thing is to write with it or to use something and spread it thickly over a stencil. Using the pounce technique gets less glue on here and it takes less time to dry. So that's just something to keep in mind. Follow the directions otherwise, but you want to make sure that this is pretty dry. See, I'm putting my hands on it and it's not lifting up. Okay, so this is my piece of foil. I cut it down to 6 by 6 and I'm just going to pop it over my project here. Now you don't need a laminator to use this. If you have a Silhouette or a Cricut or something, I bet you have one of these. This is what you use for scraping everything off of your mat after you've cut something. So you're going to use this or a credit card or a popsicle stick, a craft stick, any sort of something that's going to give you a nice edge. Okay, so the first thing I'm doing here is just rubbing this down so that it sticks to the adhesive. All right, and then I can see where all my different rainbows are and it'll make it easier for me to use this. So now I'm just going to start scraping. And basically what this is doing is getting the foil to adhere to the transfer adhesive. And I'm just going to go through and do this until I get every one of these rainbows covered. So how about we throw on some music and you can watch me scrape this foil. Alright, now that I have this whole thing scraped up, let's see what we've got. That is pretty darn awesome. I really like this technique because it gives it more of a rustic look instead of it being pristine and perfect. There's a time for both, but I think this looks really, really cool this way. Alright, so all I need to do now is chop this down and then we can finish putting everything together. All right, before we get into assembly, one thing I wanted to remind you about is that you should save this piece of used transfer foil, and that's because you can use a piece of toner paper. This is paper that has a whole bunch of laser printer toner on it, and you can run this through a laminator or use a hot iron. Just put it in a sleeve of parchment paper and you can iron over it, or you can use a laminator and it will put this right onto this black toner paper. So you would end up with a huge gold background with a whole bunch of these really cool looking rainbows. So this is not waste, or you could even cut up little pieces and use it for other projects, but definitely don't throw this away. There's a whole lot that you can still use with this. Okay, so let's do some assembly. I need to grab some glue here. Okay, so I got this guy chopped down to 4 by 5 1/4. And I'm going to put it on this card base, and I've already put a piece of black licorice cardstock on the card base. So let's just get this guy on here. All right. And now we can go ahead and put the sentiment on here. Now you'll remember, I may have talked about this earlier, that what I did is I took some black mirror cardstock from Tonic and I just took that sentiment from the scrapbook folder and I cut it out to size. So the height on this is about 1 3/4 inches. So that I was able to get 2 on this particular piece that I had. And instead of pulling out all these pieces, I'm going to leave them all together. I've weeded out the parts that I don't want. I'm just going to use my pokey tool. Actually, I'm probably just going to use my fingers because I think it should all come up. Okay, and what I did is I put some of the scrapbook.com double-sided adhesive on the piece of mirror card before I cut it out. So that way it's like a big sticker. And that works like a dream. You may have to adjust your settings on your e-cutter a little bit so that way it cuts through the adhesive. But basically, see what I have going on here is just one big sticker, which means there will be no further gluing. I will just be adhering this down to the card base and this card will be finished. So you just take your time because you don't want to break up any of these little pieces, especially like where the H and the A meet here. I want to make sure I grab that whole thing. And I'm keeping it all together because what happened when I cut the mirror cardstock is that the backing of the mirror cardstock is white. So it kind of made this white border and it looks really, really cool. Okay. There we go. So now it's all super sticky. I can just get this guy started in place and just press down gently until I get everything perfectly aligned. All right. That looks pretty darn good. I may have some repair to do here afterwards because the H came apart here. But that can be fixed with just a little bit of extra adhesive. All right, so I'm just going to let that be. Get the rest of this down. So you see how you can see like this little white line from where everything got cut. And I think it looks really, really cool that way. So I will just adjust this guy a little bit here. And we'll be good to go. Excellent. Yeah, I'll just have to throw a little bit of adhesive underneath here and it'll be perfect. All right, guys. So I hope you really enjoyed learning a little bit more about cut files and how you can use them creatively in your projects. There are all sorts of new ones coming out from scrapbook.com on a monthly basis. So be on the lookout for all these fun new projects that you can create using their brand new cut files. Thank you so much for joining me today. Don't forget to subscribe and I will see you next time. But until then, happy crafting.